Hey everybody, Juan here, welcome back. For this video, let's talk about 10 of the best games worth playing in 2020, because when talking about the PS5, we have these long-standing rumors that we're going to be able to play games from the very first generation all the way up to the current one. When we talk about Microsoft, we know that with the Xbox One and the Series X, they do fully embrace, up to a certain point, backwards compatibility. So dare I say, in 2020, not only is it an awesome time to look forward to new games coming out, at the same time, I think it's a really excellent opportunity to go back and play some classic games for the very first time. So in this video, those 10 games, I'm going to split them. Part 1. I'm going to be talking about 5 games coming out this year that I am very much looking forward to playing, and then afterwards, I'm going to be talking about 5, or I should say 4, because a friend is going to be coming on here, and we're going to present 5 classic or older games worth playing in 2020. But before we keep going, if you like what I do, consider subscribing, hitting on that bell, go down to the comments section and let me know. Which games, new or old, are you looking forward to playing in 2020? And if you went over to my YouTube community page and you actually left a comment on that, I have not forgotten about you, my friends, because after we talk about these 10 games, I'm actually going to bring up your reactions as to the games that you're looking forward to playing in 2020. So kicking off the list of games that I'm looking forward to playing in 2020 that are coming out this year, in a surprise to absolutely nobody, let's talk about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. When I first found out that they were going to remake Final Fantasy VII, I was ecstatic because that game, in addition to Final Fantasy VIII, have very special meanings for me. They came in my life at a point where I was dealing with anxiety, depression, I was being bullied at school, I didn't have a lot of friends, so in Final Fantasy VII, Cloud, Barret, Tifa, the whole gang, they were part of my friends. They were the people that I hung out with. And yeah, that may seem a little sad, but I think that a lot of people watching this, you can probably relate to that. And it does seem like with the remake, we are only going to be playing the Midgar portion of it. So it's going to be the whole process of Avalanche and getting to know Cloud and getting to initially meet these characters. When they first announced this, they did mention it was going to be episodic. Now, they're only referring to it as the Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I'm curious as to if with the sequels, whenever they come out, probably in 10 years from now or something, if they're just going to change the name completely, like adding an additional title as opposed to just part 2. I just cannot wait to go back into that world and enjoying the characters, checking out the dialogue, and seeing the little additions that they add. They did mention that because we're going to be playing in Midgar only, we are going to get to flesh out some additional characters that initially were just kind of in the background, and personally, I was always looking forward to seeing like, hey, what would that relationship have been like? And if you've played Final Fantasy VII, I think you know what I'm talking about. And the last thing I wanted to talk about the remake for now is that another reason that I'm looking forward to playing it is the fact that they changed the fighting mechanic. Now I know that this is a very controversial thing because some people just wanted the original game, but to have it look as sexy as possible. I'm in the mindset that if you want the turn-based battles, you have that. If you want a clearer, higher poly count Cloud, go download the PC version of it. There are a ton of awesome mods. Just check those out. Here's a screenshot for example, so you can get that right now. You don't need to wait for the remake. It does seem like it's going to be a little bit more action oriented. I'm skeptical about whether I'm going to like it or not, but I am going to give it a shot. So I would love to know, are you looking forward to playing the remake? Let me know in the comments. Talking about the next game, let's talk about Streets of Rage 4, which is weird to talk about that in name in 2020, right? Streets of Rage 4. I have played all 3 of the previous games, and I think that personally, much like many people agree, Streets of Rage 2 is like the epitome of Streets of Rage, of beat 'em up, whether you're talking about the graphics, the actual gameplay mechanics, the music. It does seem like they're taking the things that people loved about the first games, including the original composer. So the soundtrack is actually being developed by the people that worked on the first one. So I'm looking forward to going on Spotify once this game comes out, and hopefully they do release a soundtrack, because I have no question that it's going to be a kick-ass soundtrack. And based on the information we know, we are going to have familiar characters like Axel, but it does seem like they're going to add brand new things to the mix. And that makes sense because, yeah, when you look at the game, it is visually stunning. It reminds me a little bit of Comic Zone. I know it's not one-to-one, but it does have this a comic book feel that I really do like. So I think this is going to be a blast to play with friends. In my case, I'm going to be playing this with my wife because Streets of Rage 2 is not only a great and favorite game of hers, it's actually one of her favorite games of all time. I do have the right to be skeptical, right? Because you're touching a very recognizable IP, and when we talk about Streets of Rage 3, I think that game definitely had a bit of a mixed bag, but I'm looking forward to playing this game, and it does seem like it's going to be available on pretty much everything, including Xbox Game Pass, which is kind of insane. Now, I'm still not sure how to feel about this next game, but if there's a word to describe my enthusiasm level for 12 minutes, it is intriguing. Going back to my video about the best 5 games that I played in the last decade, I talked about A Way Out, and I love that game because it wasn't afraid to be different from everything else out there, and it does seem like 12 minutes is also going to fit that niche for me. You have one location and multiple scenarios within this apartment, and we're going to be replaying this time and time again, trying to solve a mystery before 12 minutes are up. You control a husband and you're trying to decipher what happened. So I am purposely trying to look up as little information as possible because I'm not the type of gamer or even a movie fan that likes to check out a lot of trailers, because I like to have just a little bit of context, and if I know I'm looking forward to watching or playing something, I'm like, hey, I'm good, I don't need a lot more. As a matter of fact, I haven't watched the last 2 trailers for Final Fantasy VII the Remake because I know I'm going to play the game, I know what happens in the story, so I just want to play that, and with 12 minutes, I'm intrigued at the top-down view, the way the scenery's laid out, and the fact that it's all about solve this mystery, and you have 12 minutes to do it, is what makes me very excited to play this game, and it does seem to be coming out for PC and Xbox One later this year. Now with this next game, I was a little surprised to find it on my list because it wasn't a game that I've been constantly thinking about, but every time I looked at it, I'm like, hey, I'm curious, and if I'm intrigued about 12 minutes, and I'm curious about this one, we gotta talk about Minecraft Dungeons, which the first thing I gotta say is, if you don't know too much about this, it is not Minecraft. So think of this more like a Diablo Light, where it is not class-based. It's gonna be a thing where you go into that world, and it obviously reminds you of Minecraft because Minecraft gives Microsoft a lot of money. So obviously, they're gonna try to branch out with this iconic IP and branch it off to different genres, right? But there's no crafting, no classes. It's a 4-player Diablo-like game set in the Minecraft world, and that's pretty much it, really. And I think that with games like Streets of Rage 4, games like Minecraft Dungeons, you don't need these overly convoluted, complicated games. Right now, as of this 4th game, you can see that I'm trying to balance out my year with like very heavy games like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, where that game, it's gonna suck my life. Even after I beat it, I know I'm gonna keep thinking about it. With 12 minutes, I'm gonna think about the decisions, but with Streets of Rage 4 and Minecraft Dungeons, it's like, hey, I want really good gameplay mechanics. Now this next game is one that I actually played 2 years ago at PAX, and the premise is as follows. You date your weapons. There are swords, which you date, and when you date them, if it goes well, that gives you upgrades. I mean, that sounds pretty cool, right? So I think Boyfriend Dungeon is by far the most honest title for a game where it's focused on you go to these dungeons, you date the things that you're killing things with, and if it goes well, then they get better. I've kept up with the development of this game, and I'm looking forward to playing it because it's just a fascinating concept that there's going to be an actual story, which I don't think I'll be able to take seriously for even a single second, but I don't think that's what they're going for. They're going for a memorable experience, and the fact that a date can go wrong, I don't even know what that scenario looks like. The fact that when you find a new weapon, it's the whole concept of maybe I like the weapon, but in order to make it better, I have to take it out on a date and hope it goes well? What? And I wanted to bring it up because it is going to be coming out on Nintendo Switch and PC, and I feel like a lot of people don't know about it. And awesome games like Final Fantasy VII are great to play, you know, the remakes. We're going to have a ton of games that are going to be announced at E3 that are without question AAA titles that may be launching with the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, but these smaller games like Boyfriend Dungeon, 12 Minutes Minecraft Dungeon, maybe you didn't know about those, or maybe you saw a gameplay trailer like a year ago or something and you forgot about it because look, so much information comes out so often that it is very, very easy to just overlook an awesome game. So those have been 5 games coming out this year that I cannot wait to play, but I could talk about a lot more games like Tunic, which has been in development for quite some time. But I wanted to focus on 5 that it does seem like, based on information, are for a fact going to come out this year, and also have a healthy dose of like the AAA titles and some underrated gems. But now going back to the past, not too far ago actually, because this first game is one that came out last year based in the same world as the Yakuza series. Let's talk about Judgment. Judgment, much like Yakuza, takes place in Kamurocho. And when I first heard about this game, I was a little confused because it's like, hey, it's kind of a Yakuza game, but it's not. It has some similar fighting mechanics, but at the same time, it's got this investigative element. I love playing Yakuza 6. I definitely want to go back and play some of the older ones. And you're telling me that you're going to blend those games with something like Phoenix Wright? I'm like, man, that is a whole lot of something that I am very much looking forward to playing. And even though I have my copy right there, I've been waiting for like the perfect time to play it, because I know it's a game that when I start playing it, I'm gonna be sucked in. As a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to streaming this game on my secondary channel, which is focused on just that, streaming. So if you'd like to subscribe, description for the details. But what's really motivating me to play this game is that I'm subscribed to a lot of podcasts like the Giant Beast Cast, and they had nothing but great things to say about Judgment. One person in particular said, hey, I'm actually sad that I'm coming to the end of a game. And I think that is like the best compliment, right? When you know the journey is about to come to an end, but then you're like, man, do I really want to trigger that last cutscene? Because then afterwards, I get end credits. So with Judgment, if you've played this, please let me know, because personally, I cannot wait to play it. Now, I did bring up the Nintendo Gamecube at the beginning of the video. And even though I did own that console, I admittedly did not have that many games for it. So something like Luigi's Mansion, which people say, hey, that is an awesome game, I never played it. So I'm going to hand over this upcoming game slot to my good friend Joey from Ferris Wheel Pro, who's going to talk to us about an awesome game that we have to play this year. So Joey, take it away, my friend.
Hey Juan, thanks for having me on today, because I have a recommendation for you, my friend, and that is Metroid Prime. Either on the GameCube or on the Wii through the Metroid Prime trilogy. Either way, you can't go wrong, because this game is awesome. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and it is one of the highest rated games on Metacritic, and for good reason. Back when it came out in 2002, it really pushed the boundaries for video game graphics, which is interesting considering Nintendo these days isn't much of a pioneer for graphics anymore, but back during the GameCube generation, games like Metroid Prime proved that they were out to make games the best they could possibly look. And Metroid Prime has an atmosphere that is currently unmatched. From the gorgeous rainy areas of the Talon overworld to the deep and historical Chozo ruins and even the snowy Phendrana drifts, this game just reeks atmosphere. And while the gameplay loop is kind of repetitive, it is also very rewarding, gifting you with different tools such as the boost ball, spider ball, as well as different suits like the gravity suit and phazon suit. And if you don't know what the phazon suit is, well, you'll know when you finally play the game. Even though this game is almost 20 years old, I'm not going to spoil too much because I know a lot of people have yet to play it. Hopefully Nintendo remasters the game on the Nintendo Switch through the Metroid Prime trilogy remastered. Hopefully, and even after you beat Metroid Prime, you should definitely play Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3 because they feature way better mechanics that are improved upon from the previous game. And I did trade in my original GameCube copy when I was a child for the Prime trilogy on Wii, but even then I found this for like $10 maybe. It shouldn't be too hard to find. Even then, if you want the entire trilogy, you can even buy it on the Wii U eShop for $20. That's a steal for 3 games that are so highly adored. Man, you owe it to yourself to get this on the eShop if you can. But like I said, you're a physical collector, so there's no harm getting it physically. And buying the trilogy would be a little more expensive, and by a little I mean a lot. We're talking maybe 40 or $50. I don't know, I haven't done any shopping for it. But even then it's worth it because these games are just really damn good, and you owe it to yourself to play them. So that's all I have to say. If you want to check out my video on Metroid Prime, you should check out my channel, Ferris Wheel Pro. But I thank you guys so much for watching. Let's bring it back to Juan.
Okay, I guess we gotta play Metroid Prime. Thank you so much, Joey, for that. I wanted to bring Joey to the channel because he's somebody that when you follow him on Twitter, you feel his passion for Metroid Prime, and that's a game that I played for maybe like 5 seconds at some point at a GameStop or Toys R Us or something, but it's one of those games that I just never got around to playing it, and it's because I really wasn't into Metroid in the NES or Super Nintendo, so when Prime came out, I'm like, well, I didn't play the other one, so I guess I should not play this one. Now the question is, I am going to play this game, but I'm thinking of getting that trilogy. I didn't even know you could actually buy that, and hey, all of you know I love my Wii U, so it's another reason to play that. And staying on the topic of Nintendo consoles, I'm a little ashamed to say that I, PlayerJuan, have never played Super Mario Galaxy. I own the damn game, yet I have not played it. I talk about the Wii U, I have a Wii, I'm gonna own up and play it because when it came out, honestly, the whole concept of galaxies was not appealing to me. I grew up playing Super Mario 64, World, so I'm like, hey, those planets are small. Therefore, they are less enjoyable. That was younger Juan talking. He was dumb, he was stupid. So Juan now, I'm still young and stupid, but now I'm actually gonna play that game. I played and beat Super Mario Odyssey on the Nintendo Switch, and even though I love my time playing it, the moment that I concluded the story, I stopped playing it and I kind of forgot about it. I want to be able to go back and play other Mario games and just seeing like what made me click with these other games that I did not get with Super Mario Odyssey. And now let's switch over from Nintendo to Sony and talk about The Last of Us. So unlike Super Mario Galaxy, I actually have played The Last of Us. I played like 7 hours of the PS3 version, but I kind of just stopped playing it, and I honestly don't know why. But the fact that we got the remastered version on PlayStation Plus meant that, hey, the second one's going to be coming out this year, so I think right now is the best time to play this because I'm looking forward to checking out the story. Even though some of it has been spoiled for me, the good thing about me, people, is that I have a relatively short attention span. So that doesn't mean that you're gonna go to the comment section and spoil this. And me telling you not to do this is not this reverse psychology of no. Juan, he wants me to tell him, no, please don't do that. But I'm looking forward to playing the remastered version. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to playing it the same month the second game comes out. So it's like just hot off the presses, fresh off of the first game. Boom, we go over to the second one. And I don't know why, but I'm compelled to play this game, yet I have the Uncharted trilogy, I have Uncharted 4, I don't feel the need to play those, but I really want to be able to play The Last of Us in 2020. And the last game in my list, we're gonna go back to Nintendo, folks, and I'm afraid we gotta go back to the Nintendo Gamecube. Apparently the Gamecube was an awesome thing that I just did not give it that much tender loving care. Let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. When I bought my Wii U, one of the biggest reasons I bought a particular version on eBay was because it came out with Wind Waker HD. And many people have told me, hey, that is the definitive way to play it. And the fact that the game is cel-shaded, which is something that I love now, is something that maybe just scratched my head as to why I have not played this game before. And thinking about the days of younger Juan, I think one of the reasons that I did not play this game was because younger me thought that cel-shaded games meant games made for kids. Now, I was an idiot, but we've already talked about that. And I played Twilight Princess, which is technically the Zelda game for adults, right? And honestly, I got a little bored of that game. So maybe that's a game I look forward to playing in 2021, just to see if I feel different about it, but I'm looking forward to sailing in this adventure, enjoying the entire thing, possibly streaming it. If I do that, I'm looking forward to playing this game towards the end of the year, which I know is like the worst time to do so with new consoles coming out, but I have a lot more games in addition to these 10 ones that I'm looking forward to playing. We can make a list of 50 games, right, that I'm looking forward to playing in 2020. I've talked about Xbox Game Pass, not just Streets of Rage and Minecraft Dungeons. Those games are going to be coming out on Game Pass, but there are many other games out there, which is why I went over to my YouTube community page and I asked all of you beautiful people directly, hey, what are you looking forward to playing this year, whether it be new or old? So let's get right to that, starting with Ace Bunny, who wrote, I think I'm going to continue Final Fantasy X-2 on my PlayStation 2. I played and finished Final Fantasy X last year and enjoyed it. For now, I finished in this year both Resident Evil 2 and 3 and Beyond Good and Evil. I forget if you responded that in December, which if so, okay, if it's this year, then I feel bad because I've beaten like one game in 2020 and you've already got 2 and 3. As a matter of fact, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, that's another game that I'm actually looking forward to playing this game. And Beyond Good and Evil, that is a beautiful game that does have some things for fans of Zelda games and other stuff, so awesome choices, my friend. Cool Nathaniel wrote, me, an intellectual Amiibo Festival. I think that's like the eternally $5 game on Wii U that everybody's like, hey, you buy that for the Amiibo, not the actual game. Can't talk too much about this one, but man, people really hate it. The Lost Hellborn wrote GTA 4, which honestly, I think that is an awesome choice for a game to play this year. We have all these rumors about a new Grand Theft Auto game, and now with the success of GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, I think that GTA 4 was that game in a transitional period, and I think that unlike the previous ones that most people loved it, GTA 4 fell in this like middle ground of people that's like, oh, well, it's the next GTA game, and then they love GTA 5. So hey, if you do play that, please let me know what you think of it. Rob DOGG915 wrote, replaying all of the God of Wars. That's another thing I was thinking of doing this year, because in my case, it wouldn't be replaying, it would be playing the God of War games, but there are many different ways you can get those. There's like the Saga on the PS3 that comes with like 5 games, so good picks, my friend. Cristian Hernandez wrote, Zelda: A Link to the Past and Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo console. I mean, 2 of the best games of all time, right? I think that whether you play them for the first time, the second time, or the 20th time, it always goes down smooth. AC wrote, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, that's another game that personally I'm very intrigued by, and the Resident Evil 3 remake. As far as old games, I started playing Jet Grind Radio again. I forgot how much fun this game was. Even my 6-year-old nephew got into it, so now I need a copy of Jet Set Radio Future as well. I played that first game, I think it was on the Sega Dreamcast. Super fun game if you like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Obviously not the same type of game, but I think it scratches a similar itch, plus the style of the Jet Grind Radio games is awesome. Gabriel Garcia wrote The Last of Us 2, so definitely a lot of people are looking forward to playing that game. The Dark Knight wrote Animal Crossing New Horizon. By the time this video comes out, we've had directs, we've had a lot of good stuff, so I think we're going to be losing a lot of friends, even though I know there's the debate about, hey, whether you can have 1 island per tablet or not, but despite that, I know a lot of people are going to sink hundreds of hours into New Horizon. Kids wrote, just got Pikmin 3. That's a game that many of you saw me play live. I love that stream, and I still have to check it out with the Wiimote. Many people say that's the optimal way to play that, so I'm looking forward to playing that. XD787 escribió, dos que nunca... 2 games that I have never played are DBZ Budokai Tenkaichi 3 for the PS2 and Pokemon XD or Pokemon for the Nintendo Gamecube. That's a game that, surprisingly enough, I know nothing about it. Is that an adventure-based game? It's like Gale of Darkness or something like that, right? I know the box art because of the XD, but aside from that, I really don't know too much about the game. Fernando Sepulveda wrote that he's looking forward to playing Cyberpunk, and I think a lot of people, much like my wife, are definitely on that boat. Personally, I've talked about this previously. I appreciate and I understand why people love open world games. I think that this is going to be a game that I look forward to checking out on a streaming format more so than me actually playing it. And Sir Chugs-a-Lot is going to be chugging on a lot of Wii U games because that's exactly what he wrote. He's going to play a lot of Wii U games. Hey, that is an awesome time to do that. As a matter of fact, even though I've talked about the fact that I have a secondary channel dedicated to streaming, that doesn't happen all that often, and there it's some games that maybe have a tie in some sort to this channel, but I do love to play Wii U games live here with all of you. That's why I do the YouTube community page stuff, much like the polls for streaming, bring in all of you here because it's awesome. I think that it's great that as a community, we continue to invite to have awesome people like all of you. So to the 13 people that left those comments, thank you so much. And thank you once again to Joey from Ferris Wheel Pro for the inclusion of Metroid Prime. I cannot wait to play that game. So out of my list, let me know which is the game that you're most looking forward to me covering on the channel. I may not be able to get to every game in the depth for videos that I would love to, but if there's something in particular that you would love for me to cover, please let me know in the comments. And if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, hit on that subscribe, click on the bell, and up until next time, thank you for watching and supporting, and take care, everybody.